What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CMA Podcast. How is everybody doing? Keep the music going, Dave. Some good tea. I was going to get a Red Bull for this one because I felt it was required, but it is super cold now in Switzerland. We're down to minus figures during the day, and we look to be getting first snow within the next 24 hours. So that is a sharp reminder that I guess winter time is virtually here and ready to set its blanket of white snow on us for the next 2.5 months. Exciting times, but coming up to Christmas, I guess, dreaming of a white Christmas. I get it. Is that racist now? I don't know. Yeah, so here I am. I don't like talking on my own anymore on the podcast. I like having a guest and a conversation. I don't like talking about controversial topics. And I don't like talking about topics that I'm not fully educated on. In that been there, done that type of scenarios. So here I am on my own talking about a controversial topic that I'm not fully educated on. Fucking irony, huh? I am very wary whether or not this is going to be edited and put out, but here I am talking anyway, so let's see. I want to talk about mental health. This current time, this pandemic has exposed a lot of problems in the world. And it's exposed things in me. I've seen people tell me, I've heard people tell me that it's exposed things in them. Obviously, if we watch the news, the whole world is falling apart. I'm trying not to go down and talk about the virus or any of that crap on this podcast, but the pandemic is a huge part of the world right now, and I think it needs to be addressed and talked about. But in relation to mental health, this is a huge problem right now that I don't think is being talked about enough. All we're hearing is I have to talk about it if I'm going to address what I want to address today. So the whole world everything is racist, and wash your hands, social distancing, masks, vaccines. It's just this onslaught of news coming in all different directions. It's ripping friendships apart. It's tearing families apart. Everybody's got their opinion, and their opinion is, I can't believe people are just so stupid to think that way. And I can't believe people are so stupid to think this way. So that's part of the whole mental health issue that I want to talk about today. Where do you get your news? Where do you listen to what's going on in the world today? Because that shapes how we think, I guess. I think it's insane the way the news is presented to us. Very lopsided, very little fact-based. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the mental strain of the current times. And I realize that this may not be for everybody, and if you've switched off by now, I completely get it. Sayonara, but I want to talk about it, and if it gets through to one person, then so be it. Excellent. Goal achieved. For me, and I'm gonna get a little personal to let you guys know what I'm going through. I've never suffered from addiction. I've never suffered from suicidal thoughts. I've never suffered from any of that. I'm not trying to approach this from a position of someone who has or who has recovered or anything like that. That's why I'm treading very, very carefully with this one. But my whole release of life had been taken away from me. And here's, I want to preface this point with, if you have problems and they're not as extreme as the problems you see in other people, I think there's a bad persona with that. Like, excuse me, I don't want to get choked up on this one. Your problems are your problems, and they don't need to be diminished in any way, shape, or form. So my problems, my whole release of life was concerts. I used to go to, I'm sure you see in my Facebook post, 2-3 concerts a month. Used to blow all my money on concerts. In Switzerland, it's just, there's concerts every goddamn week because we're the center of Europe. So people, like bands would book like Italy, Germany, Czech Republic, France, Spain, Portugal, but the center of all that, Switzerland. So of course they're going to stop by Switzerland, and because they pay through the nose here, they also make a lot of money. So there's concerts in Bern, Geneva, Zurich, Lucerne, Greenfields in Interlaken. I mean, there's concerts everywhere in every city, in every town. All that was taken away when the pandemic started. So I had no release of life apart from boxing, and I'll get to that. But my main release of life was, you finish work, or if it's the weekend, you prepare yourself for the Saturday or the Sunday. I finish work, I get my beer, I get my Jack and Coke, I head on the train, I go to the venue, and when I get there, I meet concert friends that I meet up with, like periodically with. Some good tea right there. And when I go there, I get my beer and I see the bands that I paid to go see. And I'm not a husband, I'm not a father, I'm not an employee, I'm not a business owner, I'm not a zoologist, I'm not a Scientologist, I'm nothing. I'm just a guy with a beer in his hand watching a band that I've known and loved for many, many years. To go and to headbang and to talk to new people and meet up with friends, concert buddies, that was my release of life. We took everything for granted. Nowhere in a million years did we ever assume that this would be the world in 2021. Fortunately, I've got a second release of life, and that's boxing and mixed martial arts and fighting and training and fitness and all that wonderful stuff in the gym. And that was taken away from us. But at City Martial Arts, we find a way. We train outside. We got out of our lease. We're no longer paying rent. We've no overheads. So we still get to train every week. And that's how we found a way with the gym. Sat down for hours and talked to Evo, partner at the gym, and made decisions about what we're going to do and where we're going to go and how we're going to work this out. And is it right that we stay and pay rent and make no money because we can't advertise our gym, and we can't do this and we can't do that. All these decisions need to be made. Like, that's fine if you can keep the rent money going and the overhead money going. But if you've got no money coming in, like, not many people go into business to pay bills. You go into business to make more money than you got to pay out so that you make money. It's pretty goddamn standard, you know? Excuse me. But you find a way. You make it work. Bands have decided to do live stream shows, so they make a bit of money with live streams. So it's not actually a physical concert, but you find a way. You find a way to make money. You do merchandise, pandemic-specific merchandise. Our gym, we're training outside, and we're having a great time doing it, especially in the cold. This is very unique for us. I wish I could get sponsorship from tea. Coffee and Red Bull are good, but when it's cold, that tea gets right in there. Beautiful. But I see the world crumbling underneath me. I see businesses falling. I see gyms closing their doors permanently. I see bands breaking up. I see people arguing about health issues and vaccines and doctors' reports and professional advice and government and pharmaceutical companies, and the whole topic and debate is just ripping friendships and families apart. And I just see as I said, the world crumbling, and this has taken its toll on me. I'm like, what the fuck is happening in the world? Can we all just take a step back and just approach this on a more realistic and level-headed way? I think that would be a better approach. It's like putting posts up on social media about making fun of the opposite opinion to you, and then the comment section getting more paragraphs as the ways go down. It's like we're all just arguing with each other. And I want to get back to the gym. I want to get back to concerts. I realize that I'm a very impatient person, and that's taking its toll on me personally. I can't wait to get back to a normal evening out on the town where I don't need to produce identification to confirm who I am or my health status. It just makes no sense. I can't wait to go to the gym and be around my friends and not feel scared to high five or hug somebody in case they get offended that I've invaded their personal space based on a potential health threat, that I could potentially give them something that I don't even know I have in the first place. And it just makes no sense to me. I don't want to sit there online or in person arguing about health advice that someone read on Facebook and is complaining that I do my fucking research on Facebook. Life just makes no sense right now. And as I said, I've got a cough, huh? As I said at the beginning, I need to tread very, very carefully on how I approach this conversation today, because I've never been in a position of, like, as I said, addiction or suicide. And all I see right now are people going through some very depressive times where addiction and suicide is magnified. And fortunately, I've got a very strong base here at home where I can talk to my significant other about my issues or what I'm going through. And we can really work it out in a conversation. But I really feel for those people who don't have that option, or who feel like they don't have that option. And it makes me really sad. So my message today for this podcast is, your problems are your problems, and they don't need to be compared in the world right now, whether it's the pandemic related to work, relationships, finances, or whatever. But if you are going through your problems and trying to work out your problems, or if you think you're failing at figuring out your problems, talk to someone. It's okay. I heard this it's actually on this podcast, Sarah Jeffries. It's okay to not be okay is the phrase in the mental health awareness community. I've seen that over the years. It is okay not to be okay. And a huge shout out to my former training partner, guy who gave me cauliflower ear, who has been on this podcast before, Graham McCormick. Graham has been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, crawled through the river of shit and came out clean on the other side. Did I just quote Shawshank Redemption? Maybe I did. It was impressive that I did that, so tap on the back to me. But shout out to Graham. Check him out on social media. Been there and done that. Tried it all, done it all, seen it all. And is in a very, very, for many years now, has been in a great place. True inspiration. Like one of the most qualified people I've ever seen to be a life coach. You get these people out there who don't know anything about life, who seen one too many fucking motivational quotes on Instagram and just decide, I'm going to be a life coach. You know, if you want someone to love you, you need to love yourself. How are you going to have any relationships if you don't have self-confidence? You know, sometimes in life, we need to fucking motivational quote. Yeah, there's a lot of those people out there. There's a lot of that shit online. And a lot of them have like fucking 30,000 to 500,000 fucking subscribers. And it's just, they've scammed the world into thinking that they're good in what they do, but they're not. It's just a load of common sense sentences strung together with a bit of color. You know, I don't want to go down that tangent, but yeah, I guess to wrap this up, because I realize this could be a bit of a ramble. And again, I'm not in a position to give advice. The only advice that I want to push is that if you are going through anything, reach out. There are helplines. There are websites dedicated. There are doctors that can help and push you in a direction of someone who can help. There are career guidance counselors. There you go. Life coaches, genuine, qualified, certified life coaches, friends, family who you think that are not going to be there for you in times of need. Reach out. Talk to someone. This pandemic has exposed horrific stories in very unassuming places. I heard many horrible domestic violence stories over the last 6 months. I heard stories of counselors in this town alone who are backed up with backlogs of clients who are needing help because of shit that's going on at home. I myself am exposed to just chaotic amounts of work that need to get done when it comes to family life. And at the end of the day, I just sit down and I'm like completely overwhelmed with what I've just done and trying to get a good night's sleep, and it all happening at 6 a.m. the following morning. And what used to be available to me was concerts and going to the gym. And now that has been virtually wiped off. I'm incredibly overwhelmed without a release of life. Yes, we're boxing outside, it's cold, there's all these different factors, but that release of life is not where it used to be. And I'm not really starting, I've felt it for the last year and a half. But looking back on the last year and a half, I can honestly say that was hard. That was hard for me. And I don't think it's going to get easier anytime over the next year. So I'm telling you that I'm not going through anything extreme, but without that release of life can be very, very overwhelming and draining. And it's okay not to be okay. And for a while, I was not okay. And that's an honest shoot from the hip to you guys who are listening right now. As I said, I'm not in a bad place, as I have a grade A support system at home, but I feel for the people who do not. And I hope those people find a way out of that specific dead end, I think that that's enough from me today. I'll keep this one short. Guys, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your ears and eyes. If you like what you hear or see, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit us with a like and hit us with a comment, giving your feedback. And I wish everybody a very good future in relation to this pandemic. I hope everybody gets out of it clean on the other side. And take care of yourselves. I don't want to be like Jerry Springer. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. But let's move towards being all in this together. We have not been all in this together. We've been very divisive, no matter what your opinion about the pandemic. And it's caused a lot of the problems. And I think a lot of people at the top are just like laughing at us because it's so divisive and because it's like this news and information and social media frenzy of this side versus this side. So let's start to be all in this together. That's the message I want to leave with today. Guys, thank you very much for listening. This has been very uncomfortable for me, I won't lie. This has been the most uncomfortable I've ever been on a podcast. That includes episode number 1, when I didn't know if it was even going to be aired. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys.